Okay, welcome back to the United Pubcast. Manchester United 1, Bournemouth 0. Apologies if you're waiting in the chat for a little bit of a delay. I just had to change the title. I was so excited about being a successful season and Liverpool losing, but obviously Roberto Firmino came off the bench for Liverpool and got that equaliser. You could smell that coming a mile away when he was coming off the bench. In regards to it, does look like his last appearance at Anfield, and I'm just watching there. It's 96 minutes, so still 4 minutes for Villa to go and get a winner, which can secure our Champions League qualification for next season. But does look like that match will finish in a 1-1 draw. Or Liverpool, you bet you're bright that Liverpool will score a second goal in the next couple of seconds, no doubt, which will have to make us get that result against Chelsea. But so close to, we're minutes away, potentially steps away from a successful season, top four and a trophy. I think all of us at the start of the season, if we did say that Manchester United would secure a bit of silverware and guarantee Champions League football, we'll call it a successful season. Now, it's not winning the Champions League, it's not winning the Premier League, but considering where we've come from, very close to job done this season. Minimum expectation has been reached, and that is a good thing because so far, so many years this past decade, we haven't reached the minimum requirement. So we're steps away, fingers crossed. Aston Villa might get a goal. Jacob Ramsey, who I've been banging the drum for all this season and even large parts of last season. He's the man for me in midfield. Now, he's not going to lead us to a Premier League title, but if we can't get a Jude Bellingham, Jacob Ramsey did get a goal against Liverpool. Hopefully it's enough. But he's the one I'll be keeping an eye on. But enough about Aston Villa and Liverpool. I'll keep an eye on it as we have a bit of a chat. But Manchester United did have a football match and beat Bournemouth, and I thought it was actually quite good. I had an unfortunate scroll through Twitter, and people are losing their absolute mind thinking this is a disgrace. I actually thought it was quite a good performance. Now, yes, needed that second goal. Would have made it a little bit more comfortable, and we did need to improve in that final third. And yes, we did leave maybe one or two gaps as Aston Villa are closing in on a goal. Potentially not. I'm getting my hopes up. But we left the door open a little bit at the back in regards to there was one or two times where De Gea was tested. De Gea did come up big, no doubt. Mohamed Salah's got the ball here. Thank God. I couldn't do these watch-alongs. I don't know how people do them. But, a good result, good performance. A little bit sloppy at times, but, job done. It was only about the 3 points. We don't need to worry about performances at this stage of the season, no doubt. But I will say good day to some people in the live chat. So get your post-match thoughts in. 3-2-1s. 3-2-1s will be interesting. So get all your thoughts in. But, Matt, good to see you, mate. Hope all is well. Did you lose more hair after that one, Tom? I'm not sure. All the hair's growing elsewhere. Got plenty of my chest and the face. That wasn't a stressful game, though. In my opinion, a lot of people losing their shit over that game, and I thought it was as comfortable as we've been in months. Here we are, Liverpool probably going to grab a goal, most likely. No. This is more stressful than the Man United game watching Liverpool here. Obviously, Aston Villa aren't going to get the win. But, a lot of people were disappointed with that performance. And look, Twitter is not where you should be gauging your football opinion. I understand that. But I thought it was solid enough. Now, yes, it's not fantastic. It's not Manchester City away at the Bernabeu in the Champions League. That's not the level we're at. But the level where we've been this season and the challenges this squad has faced, I was pleasantly surprised. I thought everyone put in a very sort of just good performance, sort of your 6 out of 7 out of 10. And look, people will overreact and look, they have every right to, but I was happy enough. I like Manchester United winning football matches, and obviously a great goal by CASEMIRO, which we'll get into. I think probably gets CASEMIRO maybe the 3 points. We'll get to those in a little bit. Bruno was horrible again. I wouldn't call him horrible. Yeah, I thought he was solid enough. And obviously, what Borja, entirely your opinion. I always respect your opinion. No, I thought it was solid enough. Now, yes, he wasn't brilliant. He wasn't Kevin De Bruyne. We're not criticising any other player in the league for not being Kevin De Bruyne. Bruno Fernandes. I'm not saying you are, Borja, but it was fine. Now I'll have to go back and maybe watch the replay in terms of properly analyse the game. When I watched it live, sort of analysing the game is the furthest thing from my mind. I'm just a nervous wreck just watching where's the ball. Okay, is it in the other goal or is it in our net? That's where my focus is. But do get your thoughts in post-match in regards to 3-2-1s and the performances. Jadon Sancho, I think we always play better football with Jadon Sancho compared to Marcus Rashford, but Marcus Rashford obviously provides the output and the goals and the assists. So obviously you're going to value that over a better performance. So Jadon Sancho, in terms of execution of the final third, was definitely lacking. But he looked a little bit thinner, Jadon Sancho. That's not something to praise. Jadon Sancho, a professional footballer, been in good shape, but I thought he looked a little bit fitter. But ultimately, did he do enough to sort of warrant a place in the starting 11? No, he didn't. I thought Garnacho did extremely well off the bench in terms of comparing the two wingers, Anthony and Jadon Sancho. I thought when Garnacho came on, I wouldn't say made a real difference, but you could see the difference in intent. So I'm really impressed with that. He did go down with that potential hip injury. Hopefully that is okay. And because of that performance off that wing, you think potentially he's a shout for the FA Cup final. Now, I think he's probably a bit of a better weapon to have off the bench in the FA Cup final. But if he performs like that over the next 2 games, you have to say he's in with a shout at the start. Fingers crossed Marcus Rashford is back, fit and available for that. Anthony Martial up front. We'll go front to back. I've just seen Jurgen Klopp is storming off. So 1-1 Liverpool and Aston Villa. So what does that mean? Let me know in the live chat. I don't have a table in front of me. I have a feeling Liverpool can only equal our points tally if we were to lose both games now. Liverpool, if we were to lose both games and Liverpool win one, that would beat us on goal difference. That is what my memory tells me in regards to the ladder. So let me know what that is. Pretty much secures top 4 for us. So it's not quite the successful season just yet. We'll probably need another goal or 2 against that Chelsea. It'll be fantastic to wrap it up against Chelsea. But I think that is the status in regards to Liverpool getting that draw. So I can turn my iPad off and stop that stupid watch along, which so many people do. Fair play to them. That was actually quite hard to do, to talk and watch the match. Fair play to the guys who do that. But Anthony Martial, thoughts on his performance? Strikers need goals. And when you see Harry Kane the other an hour or so earlier put one into that top corner, you think, yeah, okay, that's what we need. Borja here, we need a point. Cheers, mate. So, yeah, need a point. Chelsea and Fulham at home. If you gave the start of the season, you got 2 home games in the final week of the season, you need a point. One of those is Fulham and one of those is a shocking Chelsea team. You probably take that, especially off the back of already securing a piece of silverware in regards to the Carabao Cup. So not done yet, but pretty close to being done, which is a good feeling. And obviously the FA Cup final to look forward to. So, yeah, Anthony Martial's performance, I thought played quite well. He's a striker. He needs to do a little bit more, just a little bit more. And was that him or is that the execution of the team? I'm not sure. But I thought in terms of that controlled sort of possession in that sort of in the Bournemouth half, especially in that first half, I think a lot of that did come down to the Frenchman. You obviously see the difference, and not to criticise Weghorst, but you see the difference in ability when Weghorst comes on. You sort of forfeit that football and ability, like both individually and as a team. Unfortunately, like he runs around a lot, and Anthony Martial might not run around as much as Weghorst. But what do you value more? I think Eric Ten Hag sort of might fall in between that argument as well. I think he does bring Weghorst in for that work rate and that energy, but he does obviously value Anthony Martial. The substitution was very interesting in regards to Anthony Martial. I thought keep him on, try and get him a goal before the cup final. Then he got taken off. Apparently he walked down the tunnel. Now, was it a Ronaldo walk down the tunnel or was it Eric Ten Hag allow him to go down? I'm not sure. I'm sure we'll get a lot more information in the coming minutes when Eric Ten Hag talks. So fingers crossed it was all above board and Eric Ten Hag said go down and put some ice on something. But if you did see the sort of look on his face when he was sort of walking off, I think he was surprised. And I was surprised as well. But fingers crossed Eric Ten Hag and Anthony Martial have all sorted that out. Fingers crossed it's not a Ronaldo situation. But look, we're going to have an Anthony Martial discussion in a few weeks after we stop Manchester City winning the treble. But further back, let's go into midfield before I get into one or two comments. Midfield, as Borja said, Bruno was horrible. I wouldn't say horrible. I thought probably the weaker out of the midfield three. I thought Casemiro and Eriksen had good games. And Bruno Fernandes, we've always had this debate in regards to Bruno, in regards to his performance / output. When he doesn't have that output, if maybe that ball goes in the top corner and the goalkeeper doesn't save it, we have a different discussion. When he doesn't have that output, what does he have to show for his performance? Probably not much today, but we're a better midfield three than their midfield. And that's not to sort of anything to write home about. They're Bournemouth at the end of the day. But I thought got the job done enough. Maybe could have done a little bit more, better in regards to execution, of course. But got the job done. Eriksen and Casemiro, I thought, played very well. Larry and I were on pre-match and we'll discuss some Christian Eriksen and both full of praise for him, but also looking one or two question marks and maybe starting to emerge around Eriksen. And again, we're not going to make any sort of jumping through hoops or judgments in regards to a performance away at Bournemouth, potentially one of the worst teams in the league. Obviously, they've done well in recent weeks. But one or two question marks starting to sort of emerge around Eriksen, but I thought performed very well today. Nice and composed. I still think there is a very real possibility, and something that I would agree with as well, that one of Fred or McTominay will start in the FA Cup final over against Manchester City. I don't think that is the game at Wembley for Christian Eriksen. My personal preference I wouldn't lose any sleep over Eriksen playing there. I just think we do need to be realistic in regards to the challenges City will possess us or provide us with. And I just think he did a little bit of energy defensive cover. So that is where I think will be McTominay, Fred. My preference would be McTominay. Obviously, I'm a fan of him. Not the biggest fan of Fred, but maybe Fred's energy did obviously very well against Kevin De Bruyne at Old Trafford. But who knows, maybe Eriksen puts in a world-class performance against Chelsea or Fulham, scores 2 goals, and then you can't drop him. So who knows? Maybe a good selection headache to have Erik ten Hag. I'm not sure. I was just going to go into the back four, and Borche brings up here 100%. I thought the back four were really good. Now, I know we let a few chances. Obviously, David De Gea came up big, which I'm sure he'll feature in the 3-2-1s in regards to his contribution to the match. But I thought Lindelof was probably the standout. I thought Lindelof had a very good game. Varane did nothing wrong. I just thought in terms of just the visual of watching the game, I did see 1 or 2 more actions with Lindelof in it. Wan-Bissaka, again, Larry and I had the discussion pre-match in regards to first choice right back, and Dillo's always just sort of close to it, and I think a preference long-term out of the two, maybe a transfer does change this, but long-term out of the two, I still think Diogo Dalot is first choice in Erik ten Hag's mind, but the way Aaron Wan-Bissaka is playing, you can't drop him. He is performing better than Diogo Dalot when you weigh up both attacking and defensive side of the games. So very interesting there with Wan-Bissaka. But I agree the back four were very good today. And David De Gea, obviously we can have another discussion if we're not bored already enough in regards to his distribution. I thought his distribution was fine today. I didn't see him playing any Bournemouth players in on goal, which unfortunately he does on occasions. But goalkeeping-wise, 1 or 2 big saves was saved quite late on. Kiefer Moore was through. And maybe could have done a little bit better, but David De Gea couldn't do better. He did his job immaculately. Matt here, Lindelof saving his United career, definitely. You'd have to say 100%. The commentator halfway through the match reminded me that Eric Bailly is still a Manchester United player. So you go through those numbers. Eric Bailly obviously has to leave. Alex Telles obviously has to leave. Axel Tuanzebe, not that he's featured, but obviously leaving. Phil Jones is leaving. Harry Maguire, Victor Lindelof is the shootout in regards to who you're going to offload, and it's Harry Maguire. Now, does the contract situation potentially change that? Obviously, that is a concern. However, I do see a situation where Harry Maguire and the club, both Manchester United and a selling club, let's say Tottenham, we could get into a discussion between the two Harrys, Harry Kane and Harry Maguire. I do think a move eventuates for Harry Maguire, so you'd have to say, rightly so, Victor Lindelof is the one above him in the pecking order and has saved his Man United career along with Aaron Wan-Bissaka. The way I wouldn't say turned their careers around, but the careers looked done at Man United through no real fault of their own. It just looked like Erik ten Hag was going in a different direction. And they were a little bit frozen out. So if they want to have that ambition as individuals, we thought, okay, they will look to move on in their career. The chance was given to them. Obviously, Diogo Dalot got injured at the World Cup. And obviously now we're looking at Varane and Martinez had 1 or 2 injury scares or injury moments, and Lindelof has had to come in. And to come in over the club captain in Harry Maguire and perform and keep your spot, yeah, I agree. 100% has saved his career. Boxy, Anthony is very raw, no speed, no right foot, lacks intelligence. The speed was the one for me today. That breakaway where he cuts back in or is in on goal on his right foot, then he cuts back in. A lot of people will suggest or feel that's him trying to get the ball on his left foot. I don't think it was about him sort of not confident on his right foot, which he isn't. I don't think it was so much that and him trying to get the ball on his left foot. It was a pace. It was a pace thing. The guy caught him. I think that was his issue. I think he was going to take the shot on with his right foot. He was just too slow. Not too slow. He's quick enough. He's a professional footballer. But just that power and pace some of the defenders have against him, especially the angle that defender sort of cut off on, I think that was his issue, the speed. But look, I say that. Last week he ran past, who did we play? Wolves. He ran past like 3 or 4 players and burned them for pace. So maybe it's not speed, maybe it's power. He's obviously a very slight guy, and some of those big defenders, when they lengthen their stride, they just have that ability to get that body in the way. So maybe that is the case. But interesting one with Anthony because, again, I've just seen the defensive work rate he does it in terms of just balances things out for Erik ten Hag. There are obvious frustrations and limitations in the final third on the ball. But clean sheet again today. Now, yes, another day, if David De Gea doesn't come up big, we're not having a clean sheet and we're having a very different discussion. But David De Gea, in terms of the clean sheets, wins the Golden Glove. And yes, that is an individual award, of course. But it is a defensive, it is a team in terms of a team game. The back four and the way we do defend, we do obviously defend a lot more from the front or higher up the pitch this season. And we haven't had a player like Anthony for so long on that right-hand side or left-hand side. Marcus Rashford, obviously, not well known for his defensive output. So I think we have defended now. It's hard to say we've defended better this season when we concede 6 at the Etihad, 7 at Anfield, 4 at Brentford. So I think it's hard to say we've defended better. take those isolated games out, they're very sort of small sample size. Other than that, we have sort of defended, I thought, far better and far more comfortably this season. I think that is both collectively as the team in terms of the instruction and system Erik ten Hag has put in, but I also think the defenders, I think Lisandro Martinez and Rafael Varane playing the way they have is such a key part of that compared to what Harry Maguire and Victor Lindelof have done previously in previous seasons. So good individually and collectively this season. I think it is on the right track, which is all you can ask. I don't think we could have started this season and said, okay, we need to win 3 or 4 trophies. That's obviously an impossibility, especially Manchester City, unfortunately. But a successful season for me. Now, yes, as we sort of alluded to, do need one more point to secure top 4 qualification, but pretty confident that happened, especially against, wouldn't you love to do it against Chelsea? Just sort of rub that sort of final bit of salt in the wounds. I definitely love that. I think it's a midweek game coming up, so fingers crossed that is the case. Now, we'll get into 3-2-1s. Now, I need help in the live chat because, as I said, in terms of 1 or 2 of those discussions, I'm not great at analysing the match when it's live. I have to go back and watch the replay. So I'm just sort of going through off raw emotion. If anyone's new, there's over 50 in the chat. If anyone's new to the podcast, the 3-2-1s is not necessarily the man of the match as Sky Sports would give it. It's in regards to proper contribution and impact on the match. So David De Gea didn't have nothing to do but 1 or 2 really big saves, they're match-winning saves sort of thing. So what impact does he have in regards to Manchester United getting the result, Casemiro's goal, etc. So do get your 3-2-1s for 3, the biggest, most important player, 2 for the second, 1 for the third. And I might need some help with that because definitely was a tough one. So I'll bring up 3-2-1s for me. Box here saying Shaw maturing into a leader figure. Yeah, I did like Luke Shaw's performance. I thought he was very good, and obviously a big congratulations to David De Gea. So 3-2-1s for me. First one, it has to be Casemiro. I thought 1, he played well. So decent enough performance. I think controlled the midfield at times with Christian Eriksen, but the goal. We haven't spoken about the goal. Get me your thoughts in on that as well. What a goal. Just a brilliant goal. You don't expect that from Casemiro, like to have that in his locker. Now, it's not a Wayne Rooney bicycle or anything like that, but quick thinking, good execution, nice little run into the box. I think that's something we sort of forget with Casemiro in terms of the way he plays the game. We think he's a defensive midfielder. So often he's that player making those runs into the box. You look in the Carabao Cup final in regards to getting in the box. Oh, no, that was a set piece, but sort of trying to get in the box, get a goal. He does that a lot, and that's a confidence thing with obviously his ability and him backing himself to go get a goal, but also his confidence in regards to especially having Christian Eriksen there. Now, Christian Eriksen isn't a defensive-minded player, but he has that confidence, Casemiro, to go, knowing that he will have someone sitting and doing that sort of work for him. So that's a good thing, one, for his individual sort of ability, but obviously the trust he does have in his teammates, because if he didn't trust what was next to him, I don't think he'd be bombing on past the strikers. So a great ball by Christian Eriksen, a little bit lucky with the touch off the Bournemouth defender, but the reaction from Casemiro, brilliant, 100%. I'll definitely be watching that one on replay. Box of green, Casemiro for 3. Split between the centre-backs, Varane, Lindelof, and Luke Shaw for 1 point. Matt here, Casemiro for 3 points, David De Gea for 2. I think David De Gea is my shout, potentially, maybe. Maybe he is. And Christian Eriksen for 1. I would like to throw Christian Eriksen in there, and I don't know if that's off the back of pre-match sort of having 1 or 2 discussions about him in regards to raising a few questions and sort of what the future looks like under Christian Eriksen. So maybe I was sort of looking box here saying shout outs to De Gea and Eriksen, of course. So I think they're the 2 names for me. In regards to contribution to the match, in regards to the result, it's De Gea for me. That save at the end, as I said, Casemiro, we're calling that a match-winning goal. It's only a match-winning goal if David De Gea doesn't make that save, or only if he makes that save. So for me, that big save at the end, that's as good as a goal, especially if we're going to sort of qualify for the Champions League by a point or 2 points. You look at that moment, big by De Gea. Now, that's not a De Gea discussion in regards to the next season and his distribution. It's this game, this performance, and these actions. So De Gea gets the 2 points for me. And as a lot of people in the chat say, Christian Eriksen for me, I thought, again, it is Bournemouth, so we're not jumping through him saying he's world-class, Christian Eriksen. But in regards to that game and the control of it, I think he was key, and he was picking up a lot of areas. He wasn't just sort of vertical up and down the pitch. He was drifting really quite wide at times and sort of doubling up, especially on that left-hand side at times with Jadon Sancho, and sort of linking up the play quite nicely. And I thought that was good to see. Sometimes our players get quite lazy and, okay, this is my job, I'll do it here. But to have those players like a Bruno Fernandes, like a Christian Eriksen, sort of to float around And Jadon Sancho and Anthony aren't really those players to sort of burst past people, so they're going to need people to come across and link up the play. So Christian Eriksen, for me, I thought it was a very sort of solid performance, and something he needs, because I think he's not really a player, Christian Eriksen, who you would say is a confidence player. You say those for your strikers and your wingers. Every player is a confidence player, and I think Christian Eriksen is just starting to feel it a little bit, not from the fans, not like a pressure. I think he can deal with the pressure, but he just needs. He's one of those players. Does he? I don't think he has a goal recently. I don't. Maybe he has. I'm not sure. I don't think he has a goal, or obviously got the assist for CASEMIRO. Actually, that assist for CASEMIRO that definitely gets him a point. But I think he's a player who maybe just needs something to switch, maybe whether that's a good performance like today and he'll kick on against Chelsea, or he needs a goal to sort of kick himself on. I think he does need something. So it was great to see Christian Eriksen perform well. And other than that, more importantly, the team perform well and the team get 3 points. So I said it is 2:20 a.m. in the morning, Sunday morning. I do have to be up quite early. Larry has to be up even earlier. That is why he hasn't joined us. But I'm sure we'll be back tomorrow night. But do appreciate everyone joining us, whether you are in Australia and it's first thing Sunday morning or late Saturday night, I should say, or you are somewhere overseas. Do appreciate you joining and sharing your opinions in the live chat and keeping us going. It was a little bit tricky for me doing these solos, but always enjoyable. As always in our box here, last one, we're starting to see more periods of control in the midfield now with Eriksen, CASEMIRO getting back to full fitness. Yeah, no, I agree with that. And not just sort of this season in regards to now you look at, okay, CASEMIRO and Eriksen coming back in compared to 6 weeks ago. Just again, I always make the period of the last 10 years, the last decade. All these anniversaries pop up. 10 years since Ferguson's last game. 10 years since that Van Persie volley against Aston Villa. This last 10 years, even when we were good, we never really controlled games. A lot of our best football, not to criticise, but a lot of our best football under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer came off the counter-attack. And I love counter-attacking football. It's the furthest thing from... no, I should say I do love counter-attacking football. It's not what Manchester City do, but it's a huge part of Manchester United's DNA in regards to it's so exciting. But in terms of if we want to be an Erik ten Hag team and sort of progress to what he wants to achieve, we do need to control the ball. And yeah, we just haven't had that under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Louis van Gaal, we obviously had a lot of control, but was never really that bite. In the end, we had the control for no reason. But over this last 10 years, we haven't dominated games. Now, yes, dominating away at Bournemouth isn't anything to write home about. I'm fully aware of that, but there's been so many times we haven't dominated away at Bournemouth. And I'm just thinking that is a step in the right direction. But the biggest step for me is this being a successful season. I think that's when the fixtures come out at the start of the season. That's what we say, top 4 and a trophy. Now, we're 1 point away from top 4. Technically still need to get that job done, of course. Very close to it. Avoiding disaster, we do have Champions League football, and maybe even Liverpool blow it on the last day. They'll obviously need the win as well. So fingers crossed it can go away over the next couple of days, or the Chelsea match at least. Get that vital point and then put everyone on ice and rest up for that FA Cup final, because that is where the season is at the moment. Forget top 4, forget our trophy in the Carabao Cup final. We have 3 trophies to protect, which we won in 1999. And I don't know how I want to deal with that if City equal that. So that is a discussion for the next couple of weeks. But do appreciate everyone joining us. Make sure you do leave a like on your way out. And if you are happy with the 3 points and CASEMIRO's bicycle kick, do you call it a bicycle? I'd call it a bicycle probably. And make sure you do hit that subscribe button so you do get notified next time we go live. But until then, up the Reds. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. And Larry and I will chat to you very soon. Cheers.